Hello, Steeler Nation. Welcome to Stryker's Inside Slant. It's Christmas time in Pittsburgh, and we're getting ready for our last home game on Christmas Eve. Christmas Eve or Christmas Eve? What is it here? Christmas Eve against Cincinnati on Saturday. So Tomlin has asked for a Christmas miracle going with Rudolph the Pittsburgh Steeler. Guy's a very shiny arm. And when he gets on the field, hopefully he'll do no harm. All of the Pitt Steeler Nation likes to laugh and shout with glee. If Mason Rudolph can find a touchdown for you and me. Yoy! Here we go. Let's bring up the ghost of Myron Cope and Christmases past. Hopefully Mason Rudolph can bring a bright, nosy game for all of Steeler Nation to enjoy this upcoming weekend. I'm at least excited. I have something to look forward to. I'm wearing too many sweatshirts. I was out watching stars with my daughter and realized I'm getting hot gesticulating already in front of camera with you guys. But this is your show, Steeler Nation. Questions, comments, throw them at me, because I will be giving it back to you, letting you know what I think about stuff. I got a whole lot of topics today. There's a lot to talk about today, but at least I'll start off with you guys. How you doing there, Robert C? Hopefully Rudy proves me wrong. I was asking for Rudy 3 weeks ago. I had no confidence in Trubisky. He proved me right. Unfortunately, he's a turnover machine in the system. Hoping Rudolph in his deep arm will do a little bit better. Enough to hopefully get some touchdowns. Me too. That's me. Honey Broadjet Holiday Stryker. Happy Christmas to everybody, Steeler Nation, or whatever you celebrate. And guys, this is the way I do Christmas when I was on radio, when I do everything. I say Merry Christmas. Happy Christmas. I celebrate Christmas. If you celebrate something else, you wish me happy whatever you have. That way we don't have to get offended and we learn about each other a little bit. It's a great way to do it. Robert, are you ever going to start this? Oh, sorry. I was a little late today. Cope is on good drugs. Haven't taken it yet. Have a little bit for after show, possibly during. Who the hell is going to play safety? That is the big question for this weekend. And honestly, this is something I wanted to touch base on anyway. We know that Kazee was given a 3-game suspension, including playoffs for this year. Don't know if it's going to happen. The appeal process happened today. Is it going to stick? Here's what I think. The NFL does not have a standard for suspending somebody for multiple games for an in-game hit where you are kicked out of the game for. I think that is the argument that the NFLPA is making on Kazee's behalf. I think they're saying, look, there's no precedent for a 3-game suspension on a player that has never been suspended. So honestly, I think Kazee has to be suspended for 1 game first before he can be turned in and suspended for multiple games. That is the argument. It's a good argument. I don't think he'll serve all 3. If this sticks, I think he would have a 1-game suspension and miss this upcoming game. So who's playing for safety for us? Since that would be the case, let me cut over here to the roster. Check out our safeties and see what we got. Well, hopefully Minkah comes back, though I know Minkah did not practice today with that knee injury. That's going to be tough because if he doesn't, we had Killebrew out there playing, and we had Patrick Peterson come back and play as well. So they had Killebrew at strong safety. They had Pat Pete at free safety. And that did not do the job. Honestly, did not do the job with 30 unanswered points in that game. Hurt us significantly. And our only other rostered safety is Minkah Fitzpatrick. So we don't know if we left him out today precautionarily or if this is going to show that he's not going to be playing this week. Got to let practice go because we always let banged up vets take the first day off. When we start looking tomorrow, if he's limited, they're starting to work him back. Biggest one's going to be Friday the following day to see whether or not he's going to play at all. Honey Project. Honestly, not sure if I want Kenny to try or let Rudolph give it a go. Well, if Kenny's healthy, he plays. Flat out. That's the way it is. That's the way we run our our team diagnostics for the doctors on the weekends or during the week. If you can practice, you can play. It's strictly the way it is. Drew Belansky, welcome to the show, Drew. Been a bit. Hope you're doing well. Let me know your questions and comments. Honey Project, what's your take on the whole trade Tomlin option? We've been talking about this on this show for 3 years. For 3 years. I mean, at least the last 2 seasons before this one. One of our posters, Robert Tamburo, he brought it up, said, why don't we trade Tomlin for 2 first-round draft picks? At first, it doesn't seem like a good option. You could definitely get at least 2 first-round draft picks for Mike Tomlin because that is precedent. Precedent has already been set. It happened when the trade happened for Chucky when he went from the Raiders over to Tampa. It happened over in between the Jets and the Patriots when the Patriots ended up getting Bill Belichick. It happened once also, I think, with the Jets and another team when Bill Parcells was traded before having to play for them or coach for them. So the scenario has already been set. I don't know, Tomlin being one of the most winningest coaches, not only in the league, but approaching all-time numbers as well. He has a shot of being traded possibly for more than 2 first-round draft picks. Honestly, if I'm Omar Khan, I'm taking those conversations. There's 1 year left on Tomlin's contract. Omar Khan is in place. We had that year transition. He did an excellent job with the draft and free agency, bringing in excellent parts to help make this team competitive. Problem is, our coach isn't pulling their end of the deal. So, can we get something for him? That is the big question. I wouldn't be against it. If Rooney thinks it's time to go a different direction and we can get something out of it, then that is the direction that we go. It would be a big hit to the roster. It would be a big hit to the locker room. He hasn't lost the locker room, guys. The players love him. They just hate the offense. Offense is so freaking inept right now. But what do you guys think, too? Let me know what you guys think. John Gaines, how you doing, John? I want Kenny Pickett to start. We all want Kenny Pickett to start. If he finished the game 2 games ago and played last game, we would be at 9 wins. Or 2 games. If he played one of those 2 previous games, didn't get hurt, we would be at 9 wins before even going into Indy. Would have been a completely different makeup of this team. Only needed probably 1 more win to make the playoffs. Playoffs! But I'd want Kenny Pickett start no matter what. But if he can't start, I definitely want Mason Rudolph on that field over Mitch Trubisky. I really do. Jeff Stewie Stewart. If Mason can't go, do they bring in Trace? Well, Trace will be the emergency 3rd quarterback. He will be on the sideline as the 3rd inactive quarterback that can be brought into a football game should something happen to the previous 2 football players. It would have to be an instance where one of the other 2 would have to be hurt to be able to rotate in Trace McSorley more easily, but he being in that emergency 3rd quarterback inactive role, he can only come into the field. That means the other quarterbacks can't play at all. So that is by rule what we have to do with it. It would be interesting to see if we can find a way to get him on the field. John Gaines, I'm going to address about Mike Tomlin, and Mike Tomlin isn't going anywhere. And I'm tired to see about it when he ain't going anywhere. He is a good coach. Also, Kenny will start over Mason on this week. Excellent. Yeah, because from what I've seen with the practice, the only ones at least that could not practice, that didn't practice were Trenton Thompson at safety, Minka Fitzpatrick at safety, Najee Harris at running back with his knee, and Semialu with his shoulder at guard. Limited today. Obviously, we know Kenny Practice did play a little bit limited on that ankle. We'll see how that responds. Broderick Jones with an ankle as well. Pat Freiermuth with a knee. Elijah Riley with an ankle. And Cam Hayward, defensive lineman, with the concussion in concussion protocol. So at least from that respect, Kenny's starting to practice. How is he going to respond? The practices have yet to show us. When he starts practicing fully, that's when we start saying, yep, might be playing this week. might have something a little bit more interesting to see going up forward. So that's the way it is. John Remy, man, if Duck Hodges is still around. Well, if we go to some country music concerts, we can hang out with he and his girlfriend. Cheers, Steeler Nation. I'm drinking some Maker's Mark cask strength. I got in a sampler pack at a White Elephant earlier in the week. I know a lot of you guys give me poop for not drinking too much bourbon or American whiskey, but what I'm drinking out of this Maker's Mark pack, it's one from 2019, one from 2021. I actually prefer the 2021 to the 2019 batch, but that and the cask strength, phenomenal whiskeys. Love them. Maker's Mark, sponsor the show. Of course, I'm chasing it with a Bud Light seltzer. Don't worry, I got more. What do you have, Steeler Nation? What are we cheersing tonight? We got to have something to look forward to other than Mason Rudolph starting. John Goins, I ain't being mean anything, just being honest. We're all being honest, and there's nothing mean about it. This show is open to all perspectives. I let you have a voice on my show, unlike Pittsburgh media on the air. They will hang up on you if you disagree with them. I'm an open conversation. I like to hear different points of view. I might not agree with it, but I'm not going to hold it against you. We're going to discuss it, and we'll see what it's like, because that's what it's all about. And, of course, Robert's coming back on the show. How you doing, Robert? Always good to talk to you, my friend. Maker's Mark might not have a wax melted over the top, but I think they do melt the plastic different on each bottle. They're not all symmetric. That is true. The plastic does melt down differently on each, and it's kind of a pain to open. So it's not quite the wax that it used to be. It's now more of a plastic. I'm going to let the dog out of the room. The cat's kind of harassing her. All right, pups, go on upstairs. All right, Puppy's out of the room. Now we have the Bengals fan at my feet. She'll be up here in the show here shortly now that the dog's out of the room. I'm sure she'll be up on my lap to gloat about how well they're going to be doing this weekend against us. Robert C., how you doing, Coolie Man? Drinking some Balvenie Doublewood Scotch. Broke out the good stuff for your show. That is the good stuff, Robert. That is actually one of the first scotches I started drinking was the Doublewood, their flagship. We're talking about back in, like 2005, 2008 range, right there when we were winning Super Bowls. That's when Balvenie just came out. They were selling the Doublewood back then for $35 a bottle. And I used to buy that stuff like it was going out of style. Absolutely love their stuff. Love their portwood, their rum cask. Excellent whiskeys over at Balvenie. Great distillery. So cheers to you, Robert. Cheers to you for drinking the good stuff. And I am having it in a Jameson glass. I did get this for free over at the liquor store that we have locally here. Sometimes they give out glassware and stuff for free. It's a nice whiskey glass. I don't like Jameson, but I do like the glass. It's pretty nice. Tamburo, who'd have thought you'd be drinking beer, Stryker? And I could tell you about the unique blue cheese beer. Wow, we got out in these parts in this neck of the woods. That is insane. Who makes it? Let me know which brewery makes that. That's really interesting. I could talk beer all night. I actually have a what's this one? A Fordham Dominion Oak Barrel Stout also here on the. I'm expecting to drink tonight. It's been a tough couple weeks, Steeler Nation. This is what we do on our show. We hang out, we drink, we talk Steelers. Smoke them if you got them. I'm in Maryland. I might be smoking a bit later because it's legal here. But so far, I'm having too much fun with you guys. I don't need to smoke yet. Coolly. Now we know who let the dogs out. Exactly. It was me. I let the dogs out. It's me. Hi. I'm jumping over here quickly to Steeler Nation too. Just to let you guys know that we got a terrible tailgate every weekend. This weekend being the last home game against the Cincinnati Bengals. Looks like game time should be standard. Is it 1 o'clock? Man, look at me not doing my homework, getting prepped for the show. I need people working under me. And all the other shows make it look so easy. They got people working under them. No, 4:30 start today. So guys, 3 hours before home game. Looks like we're going to start around the 1:30 time slot for the terrible tailgate, 1 o'clock maybe. And go on over to lot 5A, the red lot, which is exact caddy corner from PNC Park, the closest corner from PNC Park to Acrisure Stadium if you walk diagonally from PNC Park. And that's where the tailgate starts, on that corner, right where the DJ is spinning discs. We've got food laid out. It's $50. All you can drink, plenty of liquor, plenty of beer, plenty of non-alcohol. We got some food there if you get there early enough. And I was trying to jump down here to see if we had somebody allotted. I thought we had a big person. We do. We do. We're giving away a Pat Freiermuth jersey this weekend. And special guest, Le'Veon Bell. Time starts at 11:30 a.m. I redid it. 11:30 to 3:15, the terrible tailgate. Le'Veon Bell, come on over and get his autograph. Try to win yourself a Pat Freiermuth jersey as well in the raffle. We got DJ spinning some tunes. We're going to have a great time. If nothing else, we're going to enjoy the pregame if we can't enjoy the regular game. So come on over to the terrible tailgate, of course, 11:30 a.m. this weekend, red lot 5A. We will see you there. Tim Burrow, everyone said it would be impossible, so they got rogue cheese bakers to put their entire cheese for main process on wheels, and they drove the whole fermented blue cheese and process down to the brewery. Interesting. That's really interesting. Balansky, we don't know yet for sure if we will finish with a losing record. It looks very likely, however, despite not having the success we want to see. I think Tomlin deserves a chance for redemption. You know, head coaches are linked to their quarterbacks. All great head coaches are linked to a great quarterback. The best head coach of all time was linked to 2 great quarterbacks. I'm talking, of course, of Shula, who had Greasy and Marino for most of their careers. That's how head coaches get a great record. Tomlin's linked to Roethlisberger. Roethlisberger's linked to Tomlin. Guys, it's the effort, and what happens on the field with your best quarterbacks is how good you are. So moving forward, if Kenny Pickett he's a winner already. I mean, geez, he's won all of the games for us this year. Nobody else can get another win for us while he's been out. So all of the wins are essentially linked to those 2 guys right now. But if he can show any modicum of improving or finding an offensive coordinator to play to his style, that would help out Tomlin in the future for future years. And that's the only way he's going to be able to improve his record moving forward. Evan Riley Hinders, welcome to the show, Evan. Should Pittsburgh call John Gruden for offense coordinator job, since he is the best friends and the Rooney family and Mike Tomlin? That's a good option. That's an interesting option. It's one I haven't heard. I don't know if the entire NFL has blackballed him since that email was brought up about, him saying a racial slur toward black people. That hit the league hard, even though it was 10 years prior to that or way before. People do dumb things all the time. Do I think John Gruden's a racist? No, I don't. You don't work with that many great, talented black athletes and be a racist. You just don't. Otherwise, you're not a good coach. So would he work better trying to get work back in as an offensive coordinator before moving on, maybe being a head coach again someday? That's an option. It's something I haven't thought about before. I would be more open than most people to that idea. It would have to come down to Dan Rooney, and I at least know, Gruden and Tomlin have some history. So they coached together on the same team for a little bit. So you've got an interesting point there. Gonzalo Esparza. Gonzalo, welcome to the show. I went to Raiders-Rams game, also heading to Seahawks. Hopefully Pickett will be back. Had to stop watching last game of the third quarter. These are getting tough. I'm not going to lie. These are getting tough to watch. Absolutely tough. I was at a holiday party. I met an 11-year-old girl who was a diehard Steeler fan, watching every play. Every play. I will try to bring up the picture that she made. She was playing with Play-Doh in front of the TV screen, having a good time playing with my daughter. And she put in, I'll see if I can get this to show up on the screen. She did this in Play-Doh. She did that in Play-Doh. She knows what's going on. She knows what Trubisky was. She got her wish when Nason came on the field. I had to take a picture of Nason's extremely large head and her Play-Doh sculpture of madness and perfection for that game. I was impressed. She's a big football fan. She ended up watching the second game too, the Detroit game, and we were talking a bit through that one too. So really, really an interesting kid. But when an 11-year-old knows it's time to put in Rudolph, you might not have been doing your job right for a little bit. Timburo, typos, the fermenter of Rogues. That's it, Rogues. I know Rogues Brewery, excellent brewery. Local artisan, blue cheese, has big machines, and they put in the whole fermenting building on wheels and drove it hours down to the brewery to add the fermented blue cheese to. That's really interesting. I'm surprised. I'd be interested to know what it tastes like, because sometimes they get some crazy stuff in beer. You've never seen a photo of Mike Tomlin's college football team, have you? I'm not sure. I haven't gone through the William and Mary photos. I know they have them. I know that they're somewhere. The reason I mentioned that Mike Tomlin was the only star on his team was he had it easier than the other players, and that's why he lets his players have it easier than the rest of the NFL. I don't know if that's exactly true. I think it's a bit of speculation. I'm not sure how many William and Mary games you saw. Me being local in the Virginia area, I saw 0. John Remy, that would be awesome. Absolutely. Here we go. Okay, then you do have some context. Let's take your context on this, Timburo. If you look at the photo, you'll see that they have like 10 rows of guys and Mike Tomlin in front of them all, including the coaches, because he used to star, and it's an ocean of white players. You said otherwise. I said he's not the only white player on the team. That's definitely the case. Of course, race doesn't matter, and I was playing up the stereotype. White guys aren't good at sports. Oh, I understand. You're making a joke. I got you. Can the Steelers just put a tackling dummy out there instead of Walker at inside linebacker? Guys, we're down to our 5th, 6th options at inside linebacker, and we're doing the same now with safety. This is when it gets incredibly difficult to be competitive on defense, because our middle of the field is barren. We have no talent in the middle of the field anymore to be able to stop basically anything. You saw their running game. All they had to do was double team Keanu there in the middle, Benton, and they had the whole middle field to do whatever they wanted. They completely ran on us in the second half and didn't have to pass. 13 out of 14 plays on that big drive in the starting the second half. Run, pass touchdown. That was it. It's incredibly degrading to watch as a Steeler fan. I know it hurt my heart. I know it hurts your hearts too, to have no answer for that. But the only answer for that is to try to get turnovers. Number 2, you got to score. You got to score on a team that's going to put up 30. And now Indy's putting up 30 on us without their top wide receiver that we bent in half. Timburo, but making the point that Tomlin had it easy. Star player like Michael Jordan, Marino, Lemieux, Big Ben aren't those types who make the best coaches. That's true. But they're professionals that made it big. Tomlin never made it big in the NFL as a big star professional. I can see all of them. Every single one of them were stars in college coming up through. For me, my argument was always, if you're a star in professional sports, you don't make a great head coach normally in the NFL, in college, in pro basketball, in the pro sports. Like, you won't see Michael Jordan coach a team. You won't see, see Deion Sanders. That would be interesting if Deion Sanders became a NFL coach. That might be an option. And that might be something where we get to see a Hall of Fame player in today's game be able to coach a team. That would be an interesting way to see it. It's usually the players that, big special teams player, good defensive players, like Cower, like Noel. Those guys were, bouncing on the backside of the roster. Just saw a picture today of Noel with the 1958 Cleveland Browns team with the championship. He and Otto Graham in that picture, and Paul Brown, the head coach. A really neat picture that was shared over on Steeler Nation among the writers. They come from smaller stuff. They weren't as good in the NFL. Excellent head coaches. Excellent head coages. Who's not, Trey? Please elaborate on that. I forgot where my train of thought was on that. Thank you for being on the show, my friend. Big member of Steeler Nation, a bigger member of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Trey, I always want to get your input. So please elaborate. Tamburo, types of guys that Ben have keys of Mike Tomlin's personal house and his pocket while he was being Ben Roethlisberger. I'm sure he has an open door policy with certain players, and certain players need a little bit of extra help, might not have families and things like that. I don't see that as a detriment. He has a big program with downtown Pittsburgh where he helps the inner city youth and the people there to help them mentor them to become men, and that's what you do. You stand up and you help people. So I'm not holding that against the guy. Drew Belinsky, very true. Kenny has it. If we can get this offensive line going via coaching, draft, or new fall, I think Kenny can cook. Going to be interesting who gets hired for offensive coordinator. Yeah, and I hope they do a full process as well. Miles, welcome back, my friend. Let's lose the rest of our games and rebuild in the draft. Call it quits in the entire coaching staff. Revamp our old and outdated system. I'm not a throw the entire team away guy. That's the way Cleveland Browns are, guys. There's a reason why Cleveland can't compete, and it's because no consistency. You don't get any consistency if you dump everyone. Absolutely throw everyone out. So what do? You're going to keep most of this roster. I mean, we've got to make some tough decisions. We're already over the salary cap. I was just running that down. So if you want to have this conversation here quickly, Steeler Nation, we got a couple players that aren't starting that would be big salary cap hits to be able to, help out if we let them go. Larry Ogunjobi would be $5 million in savings if he was cut next year, though he's starting to play well again. Allen Robinson is a $10 million savings. I think Allen Robinson's probably not going to be on the team next year. Chuks Okorafor, 11, 10, 9, 8.5 million in savings. He's not starting right now. That's a decision you have to at least consider going into next season. Is he going to be one of those players that you cut to get some space, some salary cap space? Another one being Mitchell Trubisky. Mitchell can save us $3 million if he is cut next year. He's already lost his backup role to Mason Rudolph. If Mason Rudolph does well, we may consider giving Mason Rudolph another contract and telling Trubisky, thank you, we're going in a different direction. But that's really the only players that I see that they would cut. Yeah, we get some big money if we cut Deontay Johnson. That's $10 million. Not Minka Fitzpatrick. Cam Hayward was odd. Like that would be like 22. That's 20. That's $16 million. But there's no way we're cutting Cam Hayward. T.J. Watt, $12 million savings. No way we're cutting T.J. Watt. Those guys can get restructured. Great players can get restructured, stay on the team, keep moving us forward because that is our core. That is our absolute core. We're young on offense. We're trying to figure out a way to go from there. So that's the way we have to go. Evan Riley-Handers, I was rooting for Trace McSorley to play after halftime. Well, if they bring him in, no other quarterback can go in. And they waited until the end of the game to put in Mason Rudolph. So took a while for that. So they did not go to McSorley. Could have in end time, honestly, if they wanted to do that, but they did not. They chose not to do that. And we know that. We know you're not happy with Mike Tomlin. You keep saying that he's, obviously if he gives special players special treatment, but he got the most out of those players. I don't know how we could be upset about the what we got out of those players, especially Antonio Brown, because nobody else got anything out of him. Bill Parcells didn't get anything out of him. Gruden didn't get anything out of him. Arians didn't want him. Got a little bit out of him. At least got to win a Super Bowl with him. Drew Belansky, I get the sentiment, Miles. I'm not a fan of purposely losing. What does that really achieve? It's not our culture. Where did we draft TJ? Exactly. Like 25th. Exactly. Robert, the beer is not made by Rogue, but there is an artisan cheesemaker out there in the Northwest called Rogue. Okay, cool. Now I got it. Who made the blue cheese? Put the beer brewery wouldn't have heard. Yeah, I'm not sure who the brewery is. Let me know. Evan Riley Hinders, can they sign Kevin King as a safety? I know Kevin King is the good. He was more of a slot corner. He was one of those people I was kind of projecting to bring in as a possible slot corner this year. But we did not bring in Kevin King. We did. We brought him in for a little bit, and then we took him off the roster. So I don't know how good he is at safety, but I at least knew he was a slot corner. Miles, when our playoff hopes are in the gutter, I don't see a point in trying to achieve the impossible. Focus on next year. Honestly. Good. Miles Pressgraves, I want to see a new defensive coordinator. We should have never let Brian Flores leave. He would have had this defense in tip-top shape. But that's not the reason why he was there. He was there to get back in the league, because the league essentially blackballed him, and Tomlin's like, nope, he's coming over to my place. And he did make us a lot better last year. Our defense would have been a lot better this year. No lie. No lie. And I wish we made him defensive coordinator and said, Austin, sorry, but we're going to take this guy. Because that would have been a smart play in one respect. And Trey, I'd like to get your opinion on that too. Because there is a pathway for gaining draft picks when your coach gets hired as a head coach after, being a great, coordinator or a great position coach. So that could have been an option, either demote or ask Austin to move on and say they should have kept Brian Flores. That would have been an interesting conversation to be a part of. I don't know if that conversation was ever had, as opposed to the Steelers were just renting Flores and his expertise for a year until he could get back on his feet in the NFL with another team. Wish he was on our team for 2 years, because we would have gotten draft picks out of it. So that's a way. Last episode mentioned all-important Joe Green was able to override Rooney, Tomlin, and Colbert together as the final say for our first-round picks, for instance. I don't think that's ever happened, Robert, that he overruled everyone in the room, because the room always goes with consensus. But you can have a good argument in the room that people will come around to you. I know Tomlin lost the argument with Curse, and they ended up drafting Troy Edwards instead that year. And that was, that was when Joe Green was still, I know, a big part of the agency, of the talent scouts back then. But never heard him having final say for everything for a first-round draft pick. Doesn't make sense to me, because the team does things as a unit usually when they're making the big decisions. Joe Green was willing and wanted to be a part of the Steelers scouting department more years, but he couldn't stand how Tomlin was allowing defensive players to celebrate after allowing yardage. Were you inside the room on those conversations? That seems like some inside information. So I can't lend credence to that. I wasn't in that room. Evan Riley Hinders, the only Hall of Fame player that coach on the NFL team was Mike Singletary with the 49ers. That's a great point. Thank you very much, Evan. And of course, he wasn't a great head coach. He was a good head coach. I thought he wasn't given enough time to really develop. And I think that's a stigma with a lot of the NFL. I don't think they give minority coaches the amount of time to build a team as they do to white coaches. Flat out. If Tomlin didn't win his first 10 season, win a Super Bowl his second year, get to another one 2 years after, honestly, though I know the Rooneys do things a little differently, but other teams, they'll bring in a great minority hire. One bad year, out. I see white coaches hang around 1, 2, 3 bad years in freaking Cleveland some years. That's just the way it is. I don't know if it's a stigma for the entire league. It's just something that I have noticed. Don't know if anyone else has noticed that. Robert, I did a quick scan, and there are at least 13 black players, and I couldn't see the top row where we get it. You hate Mike Tomlin. So now you guys are going back and forth trying to paint a false picture by saying otherwise. Well, we're talking about, we just had another person look it up. 13 on the team. There's not 0. It's not, he's the only one, as you were saying. Now you're backpedaling and moving the goalposts, my friend. Point being, there's 0 reason to compare Mike Tomlin to the greats of Michael Jordan, Mary Lemieux, Big Ben, except to say that they don't make the best coaches. No, completely different argument, my friend. Michael Jordan, Mario Lemieux, Big Ben, Troy were the tops of the professional leagues that they played in. Mike Tomlin was never the top in a professional league. Get it through your head, my friend. That argument's pretty solid. Pretty solid. The only record that matters is postseason record. I know that's what you always like to bring up. Any true Steeler fan knows that's why the Immaculate Reception was a big deal. It was the Steelers' first and only playoff win at that point. Exactly right. 1972. Miles, I'm for keeping the roster. We have a lot of talent, but we need more talent on both sides of the ball, especially at safety, inside linebacker, and O-line. Revamp our system and get rid of the coaches. Keep Tomlin. Not a bad way to rebuild. Honestly, not a bad way to rebuild. I don't understand. And Trey Essex, I would love to get your inside knowledge on the offensive scheme now that we have for blocking, because it's not working. I don't know if it's too complex. I don't know if it's just the wrong system for the talent that we have. I know that this team has already made mistakes for having players in the wrong positions. Like we had Dotson playing left guard instead of right guard, where he played his entire college and high school career at. Now, of course, he's a great right guard in the NFL since he's been traded, and I'm happy for him. For some reason, the Steelers just kept bringing in old veterans as opposed to letting him play right guard, which I don't understand at all. Robert, by the way, if you miss painting, the true Steelers fans are spoiled of demanding Lombardis. Should note that Steelers did not win a Super Bowl the year the Immaculate Reception, nor the year after. No, it took 2 years after. Yep, that was 74. Though they might have won it in 72. If they ended up beating Miami, they would have also played Raiders at home that year because they had home field. Their division had home field, which is crazy the ways they do home fields back then. So, but yeah, you're 100% right. Didn't win the Super Bowl till 74. The only record that counts and matters is postseason record. The only thing that matters is Lombardis, and that's what gets you a good postseason record. Season over, Brown James. I hope not, my friend. I hope not. There we go. Yep. I like it. I like this take here, Robert. As far as those excuse makers about injuries, only real Steeler fan know that by far the most talented two Steelers teams are the 76 and 77 teams. They were injuries, so they didn't win. Equals no excuse. Yeah, that was tough, but their injuries were also late, and they were also in the game against the Raiders when both Franco Harris and Rocky Bleier went down in that game as they were playing it. Made it tough to adjust on offense, but their defense still made it close enough where they could have won that game. But good point. I do like that point. No excuses in 76, 77. Teams are way better than the Steelers team without their middle linebackers or starting quarterback. So what real Steeler fans don't make excuses. And what is this? Mike Tomlin is 2-7 in the last 9 games for this season. Or are you talking about for playoffs? Because playoffs, I think you're right. This season, I think we've had more than 2 wins in the last 9. Christ in me. What are your thoughts? Drew Lock from Seattle. Good quarterback. Playing well. Got to upset Philly on Monday night. You like to see the young quarterbacks do well when they go out on the field. Makes for a better league and a better product. And I can only hope that we find a quarterback as talented as a Drew Lock or a Hurts or a, regular pocket passer like Joe Burrow. Brian Davis, Merry Christmas to you and your family. Thank you, Brian Davis. As I said at the top of the show, guys, wish us what you yourself worship, celebrate, say happy Festivus, happy solstice, happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas. This is how you get inclusion as opposed to being, I don't celebrate Christmas. You can't talk about that. Just tell us what you celebrate. Then we know. And then we get to have conversations and learn about your holiday as well. Love it. Mike Tomlin has won a single. Mike Tomlin has won at least a playoff game in only 4 of his 17 career years. Yes. Playoffs are the only reason that matters, and the only regular season record is meaningless, other than just getting enough for the entrance to the playoffs, which is the real season. Though, when he started his career, what was he at? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He had like 8 wins and like 2 losses. That's, playoff records are skewed. It's a skewed stat. You're going to have a great playoff record if you make the Super Bowl. If you don't, you're 500. If you only win one or you don't win any, you're not going to have a very good playoff record. It's a skewed stat. You got to make it to the championship games or you're not going to have a winning record that season in the playoffs. I love Mike Tomlin as a classy guy and someone who cares about the Steelers and someone who gives the best interviews I've ever heard, but his fancy way of talking is something I can't relate to. I've got a direct question for you, which is a good topic. It's on your topic too when we were discussing, since I've already credited you early in the show right before you jumped on about trading Tomlin for draft picks a couple years back. What do you honestly think we could get from Tomlin this season, draft pick wise? Because I know the standard is 2 first-round draft picks for a Hall of Fame coach. I don't know if the Steelers can get more. Do you think they can get more? Because that's a conversation I want to have with you too, since you were the one that brought it up 2 years ago, my friend. To Burrow, the reason why the Steelers didn't allow the article to be printed is that they are America's team, which would have created everyone calling for the Steelers, created everyone calling Steelers on the Cowboys. It's Steelers are Pittsburgh's team. Correct. That's exactly right. Rooney said Steelers are Pittsburgh's team. So the real way Pittsburghers are really matter, and no one else talks that screwed up, stilted wordsmith the way Tomlin does. No one has ever liked it. Who's a real Steeler fan? Telling you, Tomlin talks exactly like Lombardi. Exactly like Lombardi. Everything is quotable. Intelligent people, both of them. Only both of them are championship coaches. Difference in skin color. I know that. Brian Davis, what team do you think Jim H will coach next year? New England? Jim Harbaugh? Is he getting kicked out? Is he getting kicked out of Michigan for cheating? I don't know. I hate the Harbaughs. Absolutely hate the Harbaughs. There's nothing I can say nice about that. If that's what we're talking about, I hate everything Harbaugh. I think that they are they're blamers. They don't take responsibility for anything that they do wrong. Always blaming opposing teams for foul play, or blaming the referees as the biggest bad call. We always hear from those Ravens calling out there in the field, bad call, ref, call. That's a Harbaugh team. Blame the refs. Not your fault. Sure, not your quarterback's fault in the playoffs. That was 2 decades ago. Tomlin had even a close to a winning playoff record because he's only 13 games into the playoffs. 13. Well, you're the one cherry picking stats on the back end of his career. I cherry pick the stats on the front end of the career. So it's the way it goes, my friends. Please take a literal second to hit the like button. Thank you, Adam Baum. Guys, hit the like button. Tell your friends. Tuesday, going to be day after Christmas next week, 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. Set your clocks. That's when I jump back on. And it's your show. We talk. We have a good time. We have some drinks. My cat just knows they're going to win this week. She's just hanging out. Bengals fan, Lexi right there, staring at my drink. She doesn't even need to talk trash, she said. I don't even need to talk trash. Your team's terrible. Cincinnati Bengals are perfect. Thanks, Lexi. Thanks for rubbing it in. Robert, it's truly exciting thing that happened from the Steelers was the immaculate extension, which had nothing to do with coaching, but everything to do with insane AB being a freak savior. Well, there was coaching that got the ball to that spot. I thought Ben checked down to the wrong spot, but that was an athletic Hall of Fame caliber play to reach out into the end zone. And what a great, AB was a freak athlete. Absolutely. Could have been one of the best ever. If he kept it between the ears, he would have been one of the best ever to play the game. Unfortunately, when you say there's a receiver on the team better than him to get an MVP for that year, he couldn't take it mentally anymore, and he checked out. He checked out hard. That's when we lost AB. Why is there no other coach in the history of the NFL and currently who's never had a chart or iPad in his hand other than Mike Tomlin, and you think that's okay. It depends. Some of the other coaches do call plays. I know Andy Reid does call offensive plays. Same thing down in Miami. That coach calls offensive plays. Some coaches do walk around and talk to players, get them working, get them active, see what's going on, see what they see. And he's that type of coach. I know the coaches in the 70s didn't have it. I don't remember Noel with clipboard. You can correct me. I don't even remember Cowher with a clipboard. I remember him getting a printout and shoving it in in the breast pocket of the freaking refs to see that there was too many men on the field. But I've never seen him holding the clipboard. Yeah, the only difference there is skin color. John Maulers, Tomlin now taking blame for his team's faults, also not knowing how to fix it. He needs to be removed. Well, I can honestly see your perspective but he's usually the one taking the blame. Usually he is. Right now, this team is just a dumpster fire, and it's not a fun product on the field. It's not a good product on the field. It's been a bad product all year. And as a fan, it hurts. It's like, this is what the Browns have felt for 50 years. We're feeling it this year, guys. Like, this is tough. This is tough. Like, no chance of winning games. That we have 7 wins. No chance of winning games with Trubisky on the field. I knew full well both times Trubisky was on the field, we weren't winning. Pick to win. We're not winning it. I'm sorry. Mitch, you're not the guy. Adam Baum, new offensive line coach is needed badly. Exactly. That's why I was trying to get to see what he was saying about that. Corey, I was so motivated about the squad until the dud against the Cardinals and then the Patriots. Enough said. That's tough. Yeah, that is definitely it. Chuck Noll would have left 10 years sooner, would have been best, but 1980 Steelers teams were way better than what Michael Pedway Tomlin has been shoving down our throats. No, I grew up on the 80s teams too. This year it's bad. But I also remember being a fan and watching Malone on the field and be like, we got no shot of winning with Malone on the field. And I was young. Drew Belansky, I feel for our defense. It's got to be tough wanting to fight for 60 minutes for an offense that can't get out of its own way. Exactly. John Mullins, Merry Christmas. Thank you, John. Welcome to the show again, my friend. Always love to see you from you. K4C3, what are sipping on? I'm sipping right now on a Bud Light seltzer. It's the Sangria Splash, a tropical sangria style. It goes down easy. I was also had some Maker's Mark cask strength over here, which I finished already. Part of a sampler pack that I got. And I'm going to be cracking the Oak Barrel Stout here soon from Fordham Dominion. I've been reading so much, I haven't been able to drink. Yeah, no, I know. I'm really good at figuring out what people are saying on here. Robert, there's also a false narrative. The Steelers fans wanted Bill Cowher to go, which is completely false, made up stuff. The last 2 years I was in Pittsburgh, I saw Bill Cowher regularly. Absolutely wrong. I was on all the message boards back there, and I was a hardcore Bill Cowher supporter. A lot of people was like, can't win the big game. Can't win the big game. Big Cowher 0 for 4 in AFC championship games. Can't win the big game. Can't win it at home. Never going to win it again. Got to get rid of Cowher. I heard that for freaking 10 years, man. You can't say it's a false narrative. I heard it, and I was fighting against it. I'm like, he is a good damn coach. We had some bad breaks in some of those playoff years. It happens. It's a game. This isn't Madden. It's not like you're jumping on an easy, winning every game because you're playing. There's another team of full professionals trying to kick your ass. And sometimes they do. Sucks. Sometimes they do. Stryker, just go back to the interviews with both Tomlin mentioned or Rudy has mentioned it, and Calvin Colbert has met. Multiply mentioned and gave me and Joe final set. Kevin Colbert has met. Multiply mentioned me and Joe final set. For final say. You're trying to say final say. I will go back and I will listen to those. But it's the first time I could see him having like being the deciding vote, pushing the conversation that way, but not final say for any draft pick. That means that he is the general manager, and he's not. Colbert wouldn't give that up. Hell, Tomlin was pissed off when Donahoe overruled him for fucking Trey Edwards. Not going to give it all to Joe Green. Otherwise, we would have drafted Curse. We didn't draft Curse. It's just the way it is sometimes. Sean, the only thing uglier than that sweater is our season. Pittsburgh Super Bowl sweater. That's what you get. I love these ugly sweaters. I love the ugly sweater. I actually wore it to a party because the party was on at game time last week on Saturday. Of course, we didn't do well. So I had to wear my ugly sweater. Kenny Miller, Flacco playing better than Pickett. Can't disagree there. He also has an offensive line. So that helps you. I don't know what it is, but I have zero heat. Right tackle, sometimes less is more. Retweet. Sometimes less. Oh, Robert Burrow, sometimes less is more. That is true. Yeah, some of the stuff, I got to get to everybody else too, Robert. You can't hijack the entire conversation, my friend. What's up, Claude? John Mahler's, the scheme on offense is non-aggressive plays. The next offense coordinator has to be an aggressive scheme that wants to win games. But I'll say that on both sides of the football. We're not looking aggressive on either side of the football, to tell you the truth. We got a couple players playing aggressively. I like what the defensive linemen, Okunjobi, Benton, and Hayward are doing. Highsmith and Watt. Those guys I can't be upset about at all. At all. But hopefully the rest of the team gets some more aggressive plays. Figures out a way. It feels like we're not blitzing much or the blitzes aren't getting there. And it's just the way it goes sometimes. Absolutely is the way it goes. Draft Georgia's center. We need a decade center. Absolutely need a decade center. What's that? John Mahler's. Tomlin lost the team. Then he took the credit of firing Canada. Then Rooney told him, or else. Well, we did it. We got rid of the guy we wanted to get rid of. Rocky Rush Rivera, welcome to the show. Fire Tomlin and management sick of this crap. We're all sick of it. We're all sick. It hurts. It hurts you in your heart. There's nothing like watching your team not even be able to compete. Like, we have no register. A lot of Steeler fans, especially if you grew up in the Ben Roethlisberger era, you have no idea what this feels like. You haven't seen a losing season. This is new territory for a lot of us. I mean, not for the old heads like Burrow, myself, Cooley, and that, and Ian when he's on the show. But honestly, it happens in the NFL. We've been good for so long. We've forgotten what it's like to be a bad team. It's inexcusable or unthinkable, more unthinkable than inexcusable. It's unthinkable to be as bad as we are right now. And it hurts. And if you're mad about it, you have every right to be mad about it. That's why this show is here. So we can be mad about things a little bit. Nice. Drew, losing Holcomb and Alexander back-to-back weeks was so deflating. Yeah, absolutely was. And Burrow, yeah, I know you were working at that place and you got to see Cower a lot, dozens of times, literally physically touching them because we were a tight place. Exactly. Anyhow, point is the Steeler fans in the city of Pittsburgh did not want Bill Cowher to go. We were frustrated, so we often got to the championship of the AFC game without winning it. I'm telling you, I heard the complete opposite. And I was in Pittsburgh. I was in Pennsylvania. I heard the complete opposite. In your area, I'm glad that they were much nicer in a place where they knew that the actual players and coaches were going to. But where we were, there was a lot of people, especially online, and those old online news board, news what are they called? Were newsrooms. There were news feeds. News feeds. I was on the Pittsburgh Steelers news feed and the chat group for the news feed, back in 96, 97, 98, 99, 2000. I mean, before Steeler Nation started over at SteelerNation.com with their tremendous forum where Cooley Man comes from over there. Robert C's over there. He's a moderator. Guys, highly recommend going over there to continue these conversations. And you too, Tim You get along with a lot of people over there, I think, with your says. Drew Blansky, losing Holcomb and Alexander back was deflated. Oh, yeah. Definitely talked about that. Chuck Noll was an undersized offensive lineman like Bill Cowher was an undersized linebacker, but they were able to play with more talent to guys, and that's part of what made them great coaches. And also, they were special teams players. Not arguing that. But they were star players in college. You forget about that. Bill Cowher was a star player for his team. Chuck Noll as well. That's why they played in the NFL. Tim Burrow, they weren't by far the guy be able to make it easy, and now easy on his players. Different era, man. Players are soft now. Sorry for typos. I'm saying they were not most talented player. Yeah, I know exactly what you're trying to say. Yeah, they had it easy and takes it easy on his play. I'm telling you, it's a soft generation. Soft generation now, my friend. Claude, good to see you, Claude. Stryker, I truly believe that Mason will make some good plays on Sunday and possibly be re-signed in the offseason. He has the best deep ball on the team. He has the most accurate deep ball that I've seen on this roster. That comes from preseason, that comes from training camp, and that comes from even going back the previous 2 years with Ben Roethlisberger. That's what I want to see. Him complete some deep balls, open up this offense a little bit so we can have the defense on their heels for once. Cooley, I found a better pick, and the 94 William and Mary team was at least 22% black players. We all like our narratives. Don't show me that. That's fake news. That's fake news, Cooley. Where are you getting that from? Huh? That soft William and Mary liberal rag? I cracked myself up. Rocky Rush Rivera. Sad days in Pittsburgh. Can't even turn to the Penguins. We got no goalie and have no quarterback. Wow, who wrote the script? Oh man, is Jari hurt still? Because I do like Jari as a goaltender. I am a goaltender. But if he's hurt, I know that they can't do anything when he was hurt in previous years. But that guy, yeah, he's got to take the whole team on his shoulders. They're trying to win games now. John Ballers. I started in 1969 following the Steelers. This is the worst team, as close to the Chuck Noll's first season at 1-13. Exactly. Adam Baum. What do we do with Holcomb and Alexander's situation? Holcomb is signed to a 3-year deal, and I believe Alexander was 2 years. Everybody got signed this offseason to at least 2 years. I remember that because I tracked them all. Do we plan on them being here and drafting one? Yes. Yes. Keep them all, draft another, keep rotating. We got to get another safety, got to get another corner, got another inside linebacker, and offensive line. Offensive line is a priority this year. Robert C., plenty of fans wanted Cowher gone in his last season, and he won his title and quit. Exactly. Well, he played one more year after that, though, Cooley. He played 06 as well, an 8-8 season in 06. I think instead of taking 2 first-round draft picks, I would consider it a little as a first, second, and third over the next year or two. Yeah, that's something I could see too, Robert, honestly. Like, if another team wants Tomlin that bad, like Washington's dumb enough to do something like that. Cleveland, maybe, would be dumb enough to do that. I don't think we'd trade him within the division. We'd want to trade him outside of the conference. Arizona would be a good fit. Absolutely a good fit. Young quarterback, good talent, don't know how to win, need a strong coach. I could see him going there. Carolina, we have a good our front office and Carolina's front office are good friends. That's why we always played preseason games with Carolina for years in the 90s and early 2000s. Early 2000, back when they got a team. but yeah, that's a consideration there as well. Carolina, yeah. Claude, social media would have Bill Cowher crazy. Oh, yeah, they would have been hard on Bill Cowher. I think what you're trying to say. They definitely would have been crazy and hard on Bill Cowher. But social media is knee jerk. I mean, every time we have a bad game, fire everybody. Throw the baby out with the bathwater. That's every game. You know, that's not the way it's going to be all the time, but sometimes it is. Robert, but if you could get a first rounder this year, a second round next year, or a third round the year after that, all the way through 7 over the next 7 years. Oh, I see that. Okay, you keep banking a different one for each year. I don't think I understand that. So first rounder the next year, second rounder the year after, third rounder the year after that, fourth the year after that, fifth, and then sixth, up for 7 years of draft picks. That's an interesting thought. I think that Omar Khan would want more of an immediate return, maybe a 1, 2, 3 in a draft, and maybe a second rounder the following year, maybe to get rid of the 2 first rounders. You know, that's a consideration because this is a deep draft. This is the last of the COVID drafts, last of the 5-year players taking the 1-year option off for COVID. This is it. We're out of it, and now we're back to 4-year players. You know, moving forward. You know, aside from the red shirt player here or there, I'm just saying for all rosters, all the 5th-year COVID players are out this year. So there's 2020, 21, 22, 23, 24. That's it, 5th year. So that's it, or 4 years for those players. Sorry. Yeah, because it was 2021, 22, 23, and then 24 is the last year for it because they got to get that extra years of eligibility in 2020. Robert, as far as most Steelers could get, maybe they could get 2 first rounders plus a talented player from another team or something like that. Yeah, that's something to talk about too. It would be worth 2 first rounder and a talented player. That would be a phenomenal trade and option as well that I would be open to. I didn't even think of that, Robert. I like that. I like that idea. Seems ridiculous that the team would give up more than they gave for Bill Parcells to a lesser coach, Tomlin. I don't know. He's still one of the most winningest coaches in NFL history. He has that under his belt. Rocky Rush Rivera, how about Big Ben for coach and Wizenhut for offensive coordinator? Remember what they did before? Yeah, I remember my old girlfriend. Man, what could have happened if I stayed with her? That's the old girlfriend analogy. She treated us right. Oh, if she was only back in Pittsburgh again, we could have a winning team. We could make the playoffs. It's going to be somebody new. It's going to be somebody new. By the way, I also had brushed shoulders with Bill Parcells multiple times when I lived in Florida. Awesome. Florida is a great place. Looking forward to seeing Jack back on the field. I think he and Landon will be the best duo we have at this point. I do too. I think it's at least something better than what we had last week. It's often just Bill Parcells and I had a wing place had to go to, and also favorite bartender in New York happened to be my roommate. Awesome. Awesome. Mike Tomlin ain't no Bill Parcells, but if we get more draft picks than they got for Bill, God bless us. Let's do it. Exactly. Claude, Daniel from State of the Steelers made a good video of Mason today. Absolutely. That's cool. Guys, check out State of the Steelers. Go out. State of the Steelers is on this show a lot too. So go check out what Daniel has up going on there. And see what video he made up of Mason today. Thanks, Claude, for sharing that. Tavero, Vince Lombardi never spoke unstilted wordsmith talk. Please, oh, please, he did. He made up words all the time. Vince Lombardi did change teams, and I think it was a trade, wasn't it? I have no idea. I do not recall. I was a baby then. I was just a baby. The band Steelers agree, but the Steelers, NFL, first black pick, then eventually trade him was a GOAT, and Bill Parcells, even Edwards. So trying to get something for Tomlin. Yeah, we're trying to get something for Tomlin, of course. Draft a center, left tackle, inside linebacker, and strong safety. Truth. Actually, I'd rather draft a right tackle. I think Jones, at his draft pedigree, should be a left tackle. He was in college. He should be in a pro. Adam Baum, the Pens have the 3rd-ranked goalie save percentage. 914 behind only Boston and Vegas in the NHL. How is that bad? Good point. Thank you, Adam. I like Jari. I know I like Jari. I haven't watched much this year at all. Usually I don't pick up Penguins until after the football season. Tony Dungy, Bill Parcells, Edwards, John Gruden are about a few head coaches who were traded. I didn't think Dungy was traded, though. I thought Dungy was released so Tampa Bay could bring in Gruden, because I thought that was a dumb move from Tampa Bay to just dump Dungy. And then he went up to Indy and won. Kazee got done dirty. Exactly, Miles. And I mentioned that earlier in the show. Didn't lead with his helmet. Put essentially his back on the guy's chest and bent the guy in half. It looked bad. But like I said at the top of the show, I don't think it merits more than a single game suspension, because there is no instance yet in the NFL that a hit on the field merited more than a 1 game suspension. Now, if it's a guy that's already been suspended once and then you can suspend him for multiple games afterward, yeah. But there's no precedent for him. I think the precedent should be a 1 game suspension at maximum for Kazee, and we will find out tomorrow if that's the case. I think Dungy was traded, but my point is there's no reason to trade Tomlin. Every reason to trade that. Yep. Last week he found a dog doesn't like water. Today, maybe I'll take it till his cat swims. Cat probably likes water a little bit more than my dog. Ulysses, welcome back to the show, Ulysses. Tomlin claimed about a week ago that there wasn't an option, an open quarterback competition, and let Mitch stick it up and put Mason in way too late. Neither are the answer, but Tomlin is truly horrible. I can see that perspective, and I can see the frustration and completely understand it, because I've wanted Mason for the past 3 weeks. Yep. I only mentioned the immaculate reception by AB to the point that it was been garbage. That was immaculate extension. Yeah, I know you keep rotating that back and forth. I know it's not a big deal. Jake Schmidley, welcome to the show, Jake. Winning record is good, but wouldn't you rather have playoff wins or Super Bowl? That is what the Pittsburgh Steelers fan base is graded on. Our success is measured in Lombardis. That's not wordsmithing. That is an incredible statement by Mike Tomlin that he made up, and the standard being another good one. I met Art Rooney's barber, third cousin. Nice. Hey, Robert, I've had many long conversations with Rooney, the owners who were brothers of Dan back when they were still in ownership, and interacted with both Dan Rooney and his dad and the Chiefs. Awesome. Robert C. needs to quit pretending that I'm pretending, because I'm not pretending. But I do like I was going to make that joke, but I do dislike the Pretenders. See, I actually kind of like the Pretenders. I was going to bring up a Pretenders joke too, but you beat me to it, Robert. Love it. Good wordsmithing, Robert. Miles, would you bring in Green as a coordinator? I'd consider it. Why not? Anything's better than what we got. Oh, Gruden, yes, I talked about that. I would consider it. It was asked earlier in the show. If anybody could do it, it would be Tomlin. Robert, never said you were pretending. I was saying it doesn't matter. Your thoughts are no better than anyone else's. Granted, I was a little kid when the Chief. I'm not trying to say anything other than what I'm saying, which is what I've said. Lots of conversations with lots of Steelers players, coaches, and owners. Awesome. Miles, we have to have a sit down and talk with Pickett on why he cannot get hurt mid-games. Right. John Maulers. Yes, Mason can throw deep, but can't throw short or medium. And we'll have to see. Adam Baum. Hey, Stryker. Thank you for the show. Hopefully we can cross paths at game on Saturday. Here we go, Steelers. Guys, that's about all the time I've got on the show, too. We've hit the hour mark. We're at an hour and 9 minutes. So thank you once again for being this great part of our show. Guys, come out to the Steeler Terrible Tailgate lot. 5A red lot, caddy corner, closest caddy corner from PNC Park. That's where the party starts. $50 all you can drink. Le'Veon Bell's going to be there signing autographs. Win a Pat Fryermuth jersey. Have some drinks. Have some food. This Sunday, something to do and something for fun. That's it. I love the group that Pretenders that were in the parking lot, and now it's gone kind of like there was a real Steelers, and now they're gone. Robert C. Merry Christmas, Stryker. Merry Christmas, Cooley man. I'll see you over on the football forum at SteelerNation.com as well. Ulysses, trading Tomlin would be a great move for the franchise. Rich Eisen also needs to be Tomlin's agent, the way he gives acrobatic reasons to absolve him. Take care, Maulers. Claude, the Steelers are one of two teams, Chiefs, who haven't had a losing season in the last 10 years. Steelers fans are spoiled. We're a bit spoiled, but that's fine. Great show, Stryker, but I still want to die in the Steelers. But I still want to die in the Steelers. Don't want to die in the Steelers purgatory. Thanks, Miles. I'm with you as well, my friend. Burrow, as far as my interaction with the Pretenders lead singer behind stage when she was pregnant, and my other rock and roll interaction, that's for a different show. Awesome, Robert. Love your input. Love this all, guys. Thank you so much for at least bringing me up, making me happy on a show that is nowhere should we ever be happy the way that we've been performing. Thanks for all getting together, having a great time, keeping my spirits up, and I hope all of you guys have a great holiday season. Merry Christmas. Hope you enjoyed your Hanukkah already if you celebrated that. Festivus solstice is coming up here in 2 more days. Oh, wait, what's going on? Wait, Stryker. What's going on? What's going on, Miles? Got to tell me. You got to tell me. Wait. Lover chimes in to be Tom's agent when he sticks his nose so far up Tomlin's butt. That comes out Mike's math. Okay, so be safe, bro. You too, Ulysses. I delivered a baby. Congratulations, Miles. That's huge news. Guys, everybody, Miles was letting us know last year on the show. He became a paramedic, got his schooling done. He's employed, and he just delivered a baby. Hopefully, it's another fan to Steeler Nation. Swaddle him in a terrible towel. Hand him to the mother. But congratulations. That's huge news. And that's great feel-good news for the end of Stryker's Inside Slant, guys. That's all the time I have on my show. Follow me on my platforms at SN Stryker and just tell people about the show. Word of mouth. 8:30 Tuesdays. Stryker likes to do this little live thing. It's pretty fun. We all get drunk and we talk about the Steelers. So, guys, thanks so much. Have a great holiday. I'll see you on the other side of Christmas. Until then, I'll be rooting along with you and Ulysses and Slade jumping on the show late. So disappointed in the way the team has been performing. We know that, Slade. But I'll be rooting with Miles, Ulysses, Roberts. Guys, Merry Christmas. Happy New Year's. And, as always,